How do we actually put on a Lo-Fi Live show? Let's find out. You're listening to Lofi Poli Sci. Dr. P coming at you from Lo-Fi Studios, New Orleans. And today we're continuing on our journey of talking about the live show, which was last Thursday, mind you, November 14th. And the recording of the show went up Monday's podcast. Give it a listen, my friends. Give it a listen. 51 minutes of goodness. But today, we're talking about how exactly do we put on a live show? What goes into it? Question mark? Well, let's find out. You see, it all starts off with my in-person classes. And really, it's about if I'm feeling it. I have to feel it with a class before I even think about trying to put on one with them. This was our 6th show. Our first one being in fall of 2021, then the fall of 2022, then 2 shows in the fall of 2023, and then our 5th show in the spring of 2024, and then this one was our 6th one in fall 2024. So if I'm feeling it with a class, I put it on the syllabus as a voluntary form of class participation and make it with some form of percentage of a grade or a replacement for another assignment. Then I see how many people are willing to actually volunteer and do it. In general, I look for at least 2 people to run a table at the entrance, 2 people for a trivia segment, 2 people for a top 10 segment, 2 people for polling the class on big issue questions, 2 people for a Q&A section, and then 2 people for music and 2 more people for advertising and marketing, including making the flyers. So in general, I look for about 14 volunteers and students. But we can realistically make it work with 10, or we can make it work with even more than 14. We can do it either way. But once we have enough volunteers, aka students who want to participate and get credit, then the real work starts. All the different teams have their assignments to start developing their portions of the show, and they check in with me several times throughout a couple months, depending on how much time we have before the show, and see how everything goes, make sure they're doing what they need to do. If they need any help, to let me know. But in reality, once the show actually starts, it's the students who are taking care of it while it takes place. Like, the students generally run the show. Now, for me, it's about checking with them regularly, especially advertising and marketing team, and make sure because their work starts earliest. But on my side of things, outside of what the students are doing, right away I start headhunting for venues and days available of the venues, and that takes time. Every semester things change and venues are unavailable, or their rules change about food being served, or if they're even going to let us, because sometimes we think, well, you're not really the right kind of group for this venue, and then we lo-fi say fuck off, and then we don't want to even be there. But once we find a venue, then it's still a matter of working out the setup of the chairs, of microphones, of tables, and the microphones are the biggest headache every time. It's the one thing that if they don't work during the show suffers for immediately and everyone sees it. So the microphone's got to work. Then it's about if we have to pay for the venue or not, which this time we did. We'll get back to that in a second. Now, including this show and the past 3 shows, we've been able to get catering for everyone. Free food. The students deserve it. It's a night out on us. And that's my sincere belief. Lo-Fi Live events are night outs on us to get everyone together and to just do our lo-fi thing. So after the venue gets set, I start working on catering, which is picking a caterer, reaching out to different caterers, seeing if they do catering, going through menus, talking about staffing, talking about the times to set up and the pricing, and of course, paying for it all. All of this takes a lot of time, a lot of back and forth, a lot of emails with people to just set up how we want things to run. Now, this time, we had a sponsor who provided for everything. Dead Pebble PAC. thank you. Truly thank you. You made this a night to remember for sure. Now, once venues and catering are set, they're still not set until the day of the show, where everyone starts showing up, the venue gets opened up, everything is set up properly, the catering shows up on time, they have everything we ordered, they set up perfectly. That's what it's all about. And this time it just worked out amazingly. Again, thank you, Dead Pebble. I cannot say that enough. But then, the day before the show, every one of my students have to submit all their final drafts of materials. We go over any questions, and we then go our ways and prep separately. The day of the show, all the students show up at least 30 minutes early. We do a quick walkthrough, make any adjustments, and then we open the doors and people start walking in, and it's showtime. Now, when I say our show, which is generally a 1-hour show, they fly by. And I mean, they really fly by. With 6 segments, roughly 10 minutes each, though sometimes one's shorter and the other's longer, but we never go over 60 minutes. There's so much going on, students coming up and down off the microphones and interactions with the crowd from the very beginning of the show. The show's over before we even know it. Like, this 60 minutes just flies. And then it's the 1-hour social hour and meet and greet, and that flies by too. I always have the hardest time trying to talk to everyone and thanking everyone for coming. We had about 100 people this go around, and I'm sure I was not able to talk to everyone. But I talked to most of them. And thank you so much for coming out, Lo-Fi. You made this a night to remember too. But then we close up, because the only thing that can kill a good time is letting that good time drag on too long and turn into boredom. So we always cap the live show at 2 hours. 1 hour for the show, 1 hour for the social hour and meet and greet, and then that's a wrap. And there you have it. That's it. That's how we put on a Lofi-Live show. And who knows about next semester? We'll just have to wait and see. Which is something we'll talk about on tomorrow's episode. What's next for Lofi Poli Sci Season 11? Love you, Lo-Fi. And this, just a snap of what's going on in our world today.
I see.
I'll bring it down, like.
It's not a cliche or a catchphrase. It's a lifestyle. Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Pickering, signing off.